Welcome, friends. I'm so glad that you're here today. Jonathan and I are in my living room, and we just want to welcome you to come in, sit down, find a chair. I love for my house and my living room to be a safe place for people to have conversations, the kind of conversations that mean something, that make a difference. None of us were meant to do life alone. We need each other and we need community. So I want you to feel connected, welcomed, that you're a part of this, and that I can picture you sitting around this room with me and we're engaging in a conversation. So whether you're dashing to the airport, taking care of your kids, maybe taking care of an elderly parent, working, I hope that you'll take a deep breath and just know that this is a safe place for you, and to visualize this being much more of a conversation. So today I want us to unpack the idea of something that's come to mean a lot to me. I've been digging through all the literature this year on emotional intelligence. I am fascinated with this topic. And I've come to think that maybe we've given it the wrong name. Like, emotional intelligence sounds a lot like our IQ, right? Like, how smart I am. What's my IQ? What's your IQ? And when we think about IQ, it feels like something we're kind of born with, like, I love English. I hate math. I'm good at this. I'm not good at this. I'm like, my husband has great spatial abilities. I don't. He can see things. He's a builder. He can see things on architectural plans. And I have to wait until I can see the room before I can visualize it. So, we're all born with different types of intelligence. And nowadays we know there actually are many different types of intelligence. Like, there are those who have kinesthetic intelligence, like they can just run like the wind because they've got all this body intelligence. And then there's some that have such artistic intelligence or science intelligence. Some people just love words. So, that's how our intelligence works. Now, some are starting to question, is that something that's fixed, or can we actually increase our intelligence? I think we're born with all this beautiful neuroplasticity. So even with our intelligence, I think we can still kind of grow it. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, I wonder if instead of calling it emotional intelligence, we should call it intelligent emotions. And what I mean by this is this whole idea that we actually can learn how to become very smart emotionally, but it's going to take a different mindset if we're going to be able to do that. So, a lot of times we think about emotions like, oh, that person has zero impulse control. They're just so impulsive. We can just think, well, that's just the way they are. Instead of thinking about, wait a minute, I wonder if anyone taught them how to manage their impulsive emotions. And what if that is totally doable? That's what's so exciting me. I'm practicing this on myself right now and noticing where and when does my mind feel kind of like a runaway train. Where am I giving too much thought to this and not enough thought to this? Where am I feeling my blood pressure rising? When am I noticing my heart beating really fast? These are all ways, if we will just start pausing and noticing and naming, that we can increase becoming much more emotionally intelligent. So let's kind of unpack this idea. And here's the thing. If you grow up in families where your emotions are not welcome. Maybe you've been made fun of being too sensitive. I've got a friend who his older brother made up a song about what a crybaby he was, because he was actually just a sensitive, sweet little boy. But his brother made so much fun of him that he learned how to put on a tough exterior and to shut down those tender emotions. So sometimes, even to this day, you can come across as maybe a bit of a bully or opportunistic, when really I'm like, deep down inside, there's just this tender little boy who learned how to shut down those feelings because he was shamed for having feelings. For me, around my dinner table, if my brother was late for dinner and my dad was gonna take off his belt and whoop him, and then he'd look at me and say, "If you cry, you're next." Well, I was just this kid who had a lot of natural empathy, so of course I would cry. So that meant I would actually get beaten for feeling empathy for my little brother. So, you guys, there's lots of good reasons why we learn how to think that our emotions are bad, are shameful, are disgusting, are dangerous. Or maybe, you're just in a normal family, not as extreme as mine was, a normal family where somebody says, "Oh, would you stop crying? You're just so much. Golly, manage your emotions, kid." Or just stop it, where the parents feel flooded. Because honestly, we can flood each other with our emotions. Man, this is something I had to learn in my marriage, because typically, honestly, women have learned how to be more emotional because we've been given more permission to feel our emotions, talk about our emotions. Now, little boys and little girls are pretty much the same emotionally. But then as they age, boys are taught how to compete instead of connect. They oftentimes get mocked for being emotional. We all know the phrases. Stop being such a girl. Dry up. Don't be a pussy. Little boys are told things like that all the time. If not in their own homes, then on the playground. If not on the playground, a coach, a teacher, another adult, somebody sends these messages to our sons that your emotions are not okay. Okay, so this is the message little boys are getting. Little girls are getting more communication about their feelings. Mommies talk more to their daughters about what they're feeling, except they'll talk to their sons about their anger more as a cautionary tale. Like, you got to rein that anger in, son, instead of tell me about your anger, right? So, and then we get married. And nowadays we want so much more from our marriages than what people used to want from their marriages. It used to be about survival and like, we're going to work this farm together and we're going to survive. Then it became about these arrangements. You go to work, I take care of the kids in the house, and we have these roles. Nowadays, we want our partner, our spouse, to be our best friend, to get us emotionally, to be a lover, to co-parent children together, and, to figure out life and work and home together and figure out how we're all going to do this. We want far more togetherness than we used to. And so honestly, it can put us in some real emotional pickles if we haven't learned how to tune into our own emotions and to tune into other people's emotions. So today I want to help us, just how do we develop these skills? How do I become intelligent emotionally? How can you become more intelligent emotionally? Well, the first step is to realize that your emotions are a gift. You and I can have the exact same experience, but emotionally, you will feel different things about it than I feel about it, which what makes you, you, and me. What distinguishes us from one another, what makes us different. And that's what brings interest to every relationship. So the first thing I want us to do is start believing your emotions are a gift. And again, you may not have been told that at all. That may have not have been the message you got in childhood. But I would like for it to become the message you take in now. Your emotions are a gift. Hey, I know this is cheesy, but would you even say that with me? My emotions are a gift. There's this saying from the Book of Wisdom that says, above all else, guard your heart. Because from your heart spring all the issues of life. I think this is talking about our emotions, how like your heart is where all these beautiful, precious emotions are stored. And they aren't good, they aren't bad. They just are. So what if you started accepting your emotions as a beautiful gift, and that your emotions are something that are meant to be guarded carefully? Like, I want you to think about you are guarding this beautiful treasure chest, and there's so much wealth and gold and jewels and pearls and diamonds in there. That has got to be guarded. You don't want anybody coming and just pillaging through your treasure chest and taking whatever they want from you. No, you want to post a guard around this beautiful treasure chest, and you want to be careful what you're letting in and what you're letting out. Who you're letting in. Like, invite safe people to come and you lift the lid of your treasure chest and like, look at all these beautiful treasures in here. But man, you close that lid and you lock it when you're around unsafe people who are just going to mock your emotions, dismiss your emotions, mistreat your emotions. Okay? So start tuning in. It's this beautiful self-awareness. Become aware of you. So several times a day, just pause and check in and notice. Like sometimes I'll just put my hand on my heart or my gut or my throat and just go, okay, what's going on in my body? What's going on in your body? Tune in to your body, because actually your body's super smart. Your body will tell you a lot. Like, oh, I feel tension in my shoulders. Oh, I feel blood rushing through my arms. Like I need to run, so you're not feeling safe. When I get around this person, I freeze. You're not feeling safe. Oh, when I get around this person, I try so hard to make this relationship work. I try so hard. I'm exhausted. Notice where you're storing all those tired feelings. Okay? So pay attention to your body. Tune into what your body is telling you. Your body's smart. Then next, tune into what your emotions have to tell you. Because I'm telling you, if you want to become a more intelligent person, tune into these beautiful, super intelligent, smart emotions. And then just start naming them. I feel jealous. Oh, okay, that means something's important to me. I feel sad. Oh, okay, what happened? What are you sad about? Take a moment. Let those tears come up and out. Let those tears fall. It's okay. You know, we got to grieve. Life is full of hardships. Bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Sometimes we have to grieve that. You know, this person's a bad person, but so much good is happening for them. And it's like, yeah, that's sad too, right? So listen to your body. Listen to your emotions. Name those emotions. Okay? To do that, you got to take some time to reflect. None of this is going to happen as long as you are running, or self-medicating like crazy with busyness, with alcohol, with food, with TV, with golf, whatever you use to run away from your own emotions. Stop. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are not dangerous. Your emotions are brilliant. Your emotions are your friends. They are your best friends, and they are your treasure. Okay? And then next, start practicing other awareness. Like notice, like start reading the room. When you walk into your home at night, pause for a moment. Like, what am I sensing? What's the atmosphere? You walk in at work, pause for a second. Notice the mood. Read the room. Feel what's going on. What's going on with my spouse? Are they trying to pick a fight, or have they just had a bad day? Your kid comes home from school. They go to the room and slam the door. And you as a parent, that could flare you up. And you're like, oh, that's the last time that kid's slamming the door. And so you go up and give them the what for and the how to and the, lecture on respect. You won't treat my house this way. Or you could go up, give a little gentle knock on the door, poke your head in like, hey, I'm thinking you've had a rough day. I'd love to listen. Would you want to come down in the kitchen and I'll make you something to eat? And you can tell me about it? Man, that is practicing other awareness, and it's helping your kid have some of their own emotional intelligence. Again, if these are just skills to be learned, then guys, imagine a world where we all became more and more and more self-aware, other-aware. Imagine a world where we start managing our own emotions. So I'd like that to be like number 3. So number 1 is self-awareness. Number 2 is other awareness. And number 3 is managing. It's my job to manage my emotions. So that means I stop saying things like, you make me so mad. You make me this, or this. You make me lose my temper. You make me so miserable. You make me hate my job. You make me shut down. You make me feel uncertain. For example, maybe you're dating somebody and you really like this person, but the two of you haven't bothered to define this relationship yet. And let's say you're 9 months in, and typically around 9 months into a relationship, it's time to define the relationship. So imagine you approach it like, you make me feel so uncertain. I don't know how you feel about me. I don't know if you're in or you're out. Ooh, wow. That can feel like an attack. And so the person on the other side of that most likely feels flooded by you emotionally. Let's be real. We can flood others emotionally, and it's not very eloquent or even very kind. So imagine it instead, you approach it like this, like, hey, I love hanging out with you. I have so much fun with you. I enjoy you. I just think you're the coolest person. I really like you. And, I'm 25 and I'm kind of interested in a forever relationship. And I'm wondering if that's you. So I think for me, you might be that person. And I'm wondering where you're at. And, we invite conversations like that. That's an invitation for this other person to say either, you know what, I've had a ton of fun with you too. And I'm not ready for a committed long-term relationship. So we aren't on the same page. So now what are we going to do? Or maybe this person might say, I feel the same way. And I love being with you. And thank you for telling me, because I wasn't sure if you're feeling the same way I am. So thank you. Let's move forward together. Like, let's take this to the next level. You've created this beautiful invitation instead of attacking their character. Man, whenever we flood somebody emotionally, typically they can feel like you're just attacking my character. When you say, I feel so confused, I feel so uncertain, whoo, the other person on the other end can just go, wow, that's a lot. And honestly, when we flood somebody, and what happens is, like, let's say a female floods a male emotionally, and then he starts stonewalling, like, whoo, because stonewalling for men is a protection. It's like, well, I need to get out my armor. I need to get behind this stone wall. I need to protect myself emotionally from you because you're a lot, right? And then what happens then to females when a man starts stonewalling, then she gets flooded because what she was hoping for was for connection. Now, guys, man, I've got a lot of experiences in this myself. I think we all do if we've been in relationships, where sometimes with my husband, this is such a bad strategy. Okay, so don't do this. But I would use criticism as a way to try to connect with him. And it does not work. Hey, I just want to tell you the research from Dr. John Gottman and his wife, Julie, 2 PhDs, they have run a marriage clinic for like 40 years where they bring couples in. It's brilliant. University of Washington. And they monitor people's heart rates. And man, they get all this clinical data on couples. And they can predict those couples that are going to be divorced like 3, 4, or 5 years later. And a lot of it is this criticism, this stonewalling. You know, guys, in healthy relationships, we can complain, you know, because there's things we need to complain about. Like, honey, do you have to leave the cabinet door open? I bang my head on it all the time and it hurts, right? But it's how we launch our complaints that matter. So if we're being smart emotionally, we might say, I feel so dumb. I keep banging my head on that open cabinet door. It would mean so much to me if you would help me with that and you would close it behind you. Do you see the difference there between, you're such an idiot, why don't you close the cabinet door? Do you see how that person on the receiving end of, you're such an idiot, why can't you remember to close the cabinet door? It then feels like an assault on who they are as a person. Oh, she thinks I'm an idiot. Oh, he thinks I'm a moron. Oh, she thinks I'm sloppy and lazy. Those all become attacks. And those are criticisms of the worst kind, instead of like being smart with our complaints. Like, I feel like the idiot who keeps banging our head on the cabinet door, which is something I would do. And would you be so kind and help me with that by closing the door? I'm not assaulting my husband's character. I'm just telling him how I feel and using I statements and asking him if he would help me, because I can be kind of klutzy. And so then he's happy to, like, oh yeah, I'm going to close the cabinet door so my wife doesn't bump her head on it, right? And so we can complain, but it's just how we complain. And when we move into that criticism, and if it's laced with a tone of contempt, like, I really do think you're stupid, ouch, then it's very typical for men to go to stonewalling and then defensiveness. And then when men go to stonewalling and defensiveness, then females get flooded emotionally, because a lot of times she just wanted to connect. And so, you guys, this is where, if we'll practice being smart emotionally, even maybe if our spouse does criticize us, we can go, oh, maybe she's looking for connection. Oh, he's stonewalling me. Maybe he's not feeling super safe right now. It took me a while to realize that, I don't know, sometimes I could think maybe as a female, I know females have some disadvantages in this world, and we're the ones who think we're the only ones who feel unsafe. When I didn't realize that my husband can feel emotionally unsafe. And I had to become more sensitive to how he feels emotionally. And if he's stonewalling, maybe I could have said something smarter emotionally and invite his emotions and try to set the atmosphere where we both feel safe because we love each other. And end of the day, isn't this really about what this life is about? Is learning how to love each other, how to love ourselves, how to come home to love, which is learning how to love you. And this is, again, I think, where smart emotions come in. You got to catch your self-talk. You got to pay attention to what's your self-talk like. Because if you are brutalizing yourself all day long, I'm so stupid, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, I can't do anything right, I'm such a loser, nobody wants to be with me, who could love me? I say the wrong things, I do the wrong things, I'm impossible to get along. I'm the most horrible person who's ever lived. Man, if that's you, you've got to start debating this wicked voice, this hypercritical voice that lives inside of you. And you've got to call a timeout with that voice and say, wait a minute. Sure, I've made my mistakes. Of course I have. But I'm not the worst person in the world. Yeah, could I have said that better? Yes. Yes. And am I going to circle back around and make some repairs? Yes, I am. And that actually makes me a kind person, because I care that I said that in a very unkind way. And so I'm going to repair. I'm going to do the work. Listen, you've got to debate that critical judge that lives inside of every single one of our heads. You're not the only head case there is. If that voice is saying to you, you're fat, you've got to say, hey, listen, this is my beautiful body. And this body walks me around, gets me out of bed, takes me to the gym. This body is capable of giving and receiving love and warmth and affection. This body is actually amazing. And I am much more than my size, which you are, by the way. You're much more than your size or your shape or the wrinkles on your face. You're this beautiful human who's got so much worth and so much value. And you were created to bring good to this world and to connect with your own joy and your own beauty. And when you connect with your own joy and your own beauty, then that is what can come from you. But it is going to take intelligent emotions for you to be able to do that, because if our emotions are just given permission to run wild, they aren't your good friend at that point. Your emotions can tell you some pretty mean, destructive, awful things. And so that's why we need to become so intelligent emotionally. And these are just skills to be practiced, not to be perfect, just to be practiced. And the more we practice intelligent emotions, the better we get at this. So, no matter where you're at in life, no matter if you're the person who people have said, you have zero impulse control, you are out of control, you are so angry all the time, or you're just shut down, I can't connect with you. No matter what you've been told, no matter how you've behaved, it's not too late for you to become smart emotionally. So, hey, friends, can we just all practice this together? And if this was helpful for you, would you just leave a comment? Because honestly, we do this because we would like to be helpful. You know, life is hard. Relationships are hard. I need all the help I can get. And so if this is helpful for you, would you just leave a little comment? Give us a little feedback, because we love you and we honestly want to be here for you. So check us out at betterlivescoaching.com and let us know if this is meeting a need for you. Hey, thanks for being here with me today. It's so good to spend a little bit of time with you. And I hope that you will go out into this world knowing that you are loved and that it's okay for you to love you, and then go out and love others and connect with yourself emotionally, connect with others emotionally, and learn that you can totally manage these beautiful emotions of yours.